This is my little beach bungalow here. I live right in Santa Monica, right on the ocean.
Oh,
That's just my little. This is it's a long story.
well, no, long story is good. I got all the time.
I'm just saying is um, I have a whole compound in Laurel Canyon where my studio is, and I have two other studios, and that I rent out. But when I moved out here, I rented this little bungalow, sight unseen, which is basically 50 feet from the nicest beach in LA, and I was there for a while, and then I sublet it for a while to move back in the canyon, and then about a year and a half ago, I decided life was too short, so I redid the whole place, and I, remodeled this. This bungalow was built in 1910, and I rebuilt it. So I go wherever the wind blows, back and forth from the Laurel Canyon, where I have a compound that's really nice. I mean, really, really nice. There's a big house on the hill with two studios. On the bottom, it used to be Stephen Slate. You ever use any of his plugins, Slate?
No. Yeah, you know what? I don't actually have. I don't really have a lot of his. I don't know, man. I've never really adopted much plug-in stuff. I should, because I know you've got.
I'll be honest. I'm the last guy on the planet that would use plugins, but I have about 150 of them now. I gotta say, if you know how to use them right, man, they're pretty good. And I got endorsements from everybody: plug-in alignment, Slade, soft tube, everybody. I haven't paid for. I don't pay for anything. Maybe sometimes they'll make me pay half off, but like the Fab Filter stuff is good. The Weiss stuff is good. The soft tube shit is good. Plug-in Alliance, they have I have 200 plugins. They've copied every piece of audio gear, and I know how to use them, but I use them in a way where, when I'm doing a project, I do everything two times. I do it in one way I have an SPL analog console, 120 volt, super analog front end with, the $5,000 to $6,000 digital, atomic clocks, and then I do one just completely all in the box, all digital. Digital processing, and hey, shut up! My dog, by the way.
So tell me, how's life on the West Coast compared to the East Coast?
Say that again.
How is life on the?
I haven't lived in New York since 2010. Okay.
So you're happy over there? Life is better.
It's great. This is the best thing I ever did in my life. I have. It's beautiful. There's more work than I need. Ever have. I'm in a great spot. I'm in one of the best spots in LA where my studio is in Laurel Canyon. Every other house is a studio. New York is just, it's a hustle bustle. My daughter still lives there, but I go back once in a while. Oh, this is great. LA has the best weather on earth, by the way, if you do it right. And if you get used to the traffic and you know how to work your life around the traffic, you're great. I work out of my house, but I also come back and forth. I travel on off hours, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. It's and it's the same thing over here for us. If I can manage to leave before the traffic hits and leave after the traffic at the end of the day, then I'm sort of. It's nothing
LA has. I get you. LA has world class. What you want to call world class traffic? Okay, you haven't experienced anything like you've done that here, like traffic is here. But since I know how to wiggle, I get around.
Yeah. So listen, dude, you're looking fabulous. The last time we saw each other was 20 years ago. With you were at Master Disc with you, me, and Leon Zerbos. We went out one evening to X-Rays in the Village, and man, you look fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, I do. I work out every day, eat 40 vitamins a day. I got a nice young girl. Everything's great. Business is good. I've done it the hard way. All this didn't come about, overnight. I made a lot of mistakes, but I got to be honest with you. In this day, in the last 6 months, in 9 months, I've had record-breaking billing months. I have a full-time assistant. I have and 2 places to, 2 studios, 3 studios. 2 I rent out. One is mine in the main house. I have the most beautiful house you've ever seen in the Laurel Canyon. I got a beach house. I'm not complaining. Matter of fact, I just meditated and prayed to God that I'll keep this.
Well, I hope so too, man. I hope so too, because you were saying before, if it's okay to ask you, one of the things about my podcast, Howie, is I'm really interested to talk to people about their journey, and your journey is one hell of one because you've been through so much. So, and I think it's a great story that people can see that you can come back from anything, and you've been through a fuckload. In your
I
life.
never really, hey, as far, yeah, I know what you mean. Absolutely. I mean, I mean, whatever. Nothing was ever totally broken, but I had a bad marriage. I got a beautiful daughter. I've had some good years and bad years. I've struggled.
What do you think is it about? I mean, if you've always been a guy that's been really gritty and has been a grinder, or did you just did something happen later in life that made you go, wow,
No, you're kidding me. It's in my DNA. The grinder's in my DNA. I know how to. As basically in the last 10 years of testing, if I want something, I get it. I have a vision and it comes through. I get it. If I want this, I get it. Work. I mean, this is not just work. This is, we all everybody here has their own niche and what they do, but I can't even explain how my niche has become so. I mean, I don't want to just. I'm not trying to tout myself, but I've gotten to a really good place right now. From I started mastering in the early '80s, and there's nothing I haven't seen or heard. I treat clients like gold. I'll do. I basically. I know how to work around new things. And I would say the last 5 or 6 years, I think I've done better work than have I ever done. I mean? I've always done good work, but now it's more focused. You know what I mean?
Tell me, how do you think a young Howie would go today if he started out from scratch?
I don't think it would work. Too many computer nerds, geeks. Even I have an assistant who's really good. They just don't have it. I don't know what it is. You have to. There's that. He goes to me. I don't know how did you do that? How did you get this? How did you get this sound? Why you just talk to the guy and you got the gig right away? And I don't know. It's a combination of growing a New York attitude with talent and backing up your words and really having the skills to back everything up.
Yeah.
And I don't get every I don't get everything I want, but I'm happy. And the more than anything else, which is really important, is I don't look around what somebody else has and it goes, wow, I wish I had that. That's how you go crazy. If you want to compare yourself to something else out there, you know what I mean?
I couldn't agree anymore.
You look pretty good too. How old are you now? About 60?
Getting there, pushing. 57. I'm nearly 57. Like you, Howie, I'm in the best position I could in my life. I feel great.
You got a lot of tattoos, I see, right?
Yeah, I've got a few. Yeah, covered in them.
Yeah.
Just you've got a skin bodysuit tattoo. There you go.
I'm pretty good, actually. I'm actually.
No. Look at you, man. How old are you now?
62.
Good. Oh, bless you. You know what? There's something I need to. I don't think I've ever said it to you, but I'll say it to you now, and I'll put it on the public record. My motivation for this podcast is to help inspire young kids and talk to people like yourself who share their journey. And you were one of the guys. You were a guy that was very instrumental in my career, Howie. And one of the best bits of advice you gave me, I remember. This is 94, 95. And I remember sitting down with you one day in Master Disc, and I was, having a whinge about why things weren't working for me. And you put your hand on my shoulder and you looked at me and you said, man, it's all about the home run. So one day you will get a record and it'll do well, and then everyone will think you're the fucking man, and nothing's changed in your skill set from the week before to that day. But when you get that first home run, then you wait and see things. And you were fucking right. About 4 or 5 months later, I had a record that did really well, and all of a sudden the phone started ringing and the inquiries started coming because all of a sudden, and it was such a. It's amazing how when when you're feeling down at times and you want to throw the towel in, and that word that you get from someone, and you were one of those guys at a time when without you realizing it, but that word at that time was just so helpful to me, and I'd never got to thank you for that, buddy, and I sincerely thank you.
You're welcome. And hey, I'm glad to help. And the point is, the little things make a difference. And even if you didn't have the big hit record, you still have the skill set. And what do you really want? You want to make a ton of money? Do you want to do 1,000 hit records? Do you want to just live a nice, comfortable, peaceful life and do what you want to do, and no dramas, no extraneous traumas, you have to let things slide off, and there are times where I've clients who piss me off by a bit, and I let it slide off, Yeah. This year I did quite well, I did win 1 Latin and 3 regular American Grammys this year.
Congratulations.
Because I've had better years and I didn't win any, and they still don't. They only give me a certificate. They don't give me the actual plaque. But I don't really care. I have a lot of things. I have a lot of plaques from records, so I'm cool.
Well, you've got hundreds of them. If you ever want to throw any more, if you got any spare you want to throw over here, Howie, that's fine. I'll change my name by default.
I appreciate it. And now, how's things in Australia? How's business in there?
Yeah, look, Australia's good, man. It's no different to what I guess the same thing happened in America years ago. A lot of the big studios are shut down. A lot of people now setting up at home and doing very well for themselves. I'm still, by the grace of God, still keep the doors open and the lights on and running 2 rooms out of here. I've already spoken.
That's a lot. I have 2 kind of, 2 full-blown real studios. Yeah.
Yeah, and one room's so George Augsburger did my rooms. He did a mix room for me and the mastering suite, which I'm in right now. And
so you have a real mix room. You can actually a console or whatever it is, something where you can. That's great.
Yeah, man. Look, it's all working. I've got a couple of guys who work out of here. I'm about to put a new guy on very soon. I'm scouting for locations for another room to build in the next couple of years. So something away from Melbourne. There's a place called Torquay, which is right by the beach. And it's about.
I've heard of it. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and would love to go down there. So, look, things are good, man. Like we got.
How far away? Where's Melbourne? Is it near an ocean, near a beach, or something? Or is
it Melbourne. Well, we're in the bay. We're on this bay called Port Phillip Bay in Victoria. So we're in the southeast corner of the country, and we've got beautiful beaches and we got all that kind of stuff going on.
Have you ever been out here? Have you been out here in LA at all? You've been here once or twice?
No, not for a long time, man. But I'm planning to get out there. Hopefully, my wife turned 60 this year, and one of the things I want to do for her is to get her over there. She's never been to New York, so I think
it's not a place to go. New York is not the place to go right now. New York is great. I grew up there, but it's not my thing,
Yeah, well, she's never been, so I think everyone needs to go to New York at least once in their life just to experience it. But obviously, if we do head over, LA is on the cards, and we'll come and annoy you for a little bit.
It's all good, but what I was going to say, have you heard? Do you talk to our friend Leon at all? Not much, do you?
Yeah. Look, I saw Leon last year. I put together a mastering panel where I got a whole bunch of people, and we did this panel, to do a Q&A, and just trying to give mastering a bit more of a profile. So Leon was. Yeah. So Leon was there. Leon's doing all right, man. He's the most successful guy in the country. He's killing it. Why wouldn't he? Look at his success and his discography and everything. He's the man. He still is. He always will be.
The problem with it, and here's the deal. And I'm not going to say anything unless you own the whole studio. It's worth, unless, if you have to give half of your money to whoever it is, and in this day and age, you can open your studio. I could work right out of this house right here and be fine. Okay. But, I choose not to. I choose to have a full blown, really nice studio. But, you'll never get anywhere in this world if you have to work for somebody. I did it for 25, 30 years. And every day that and for the last 10 years, every dime I make, I keep, and then I divvy it out rather than them divvying it out to me. Unless you're in that game, you're basically just you're the hired help, really.
Yeah, look, I agree. And look, you've had 25, 30 years of it, so that's how you learnt your lesson the hard way, man.
I'm not looking back. I never look back because, I only look forward, and you don't have anything but forward. You only have right now. You don't have anything past you, and you don't have anything. You have no idea what's going to happen next week. Right now, things couldn't be any better.
That's awesome, man.
I live in the moment, and
I'm so happy to hear that.
And I'm sure you do too, right?
Yeah, well,
you were sick for a while too. You had some kind of illness for a little while too, or something.
Yeah. I had my health challenges, and addiction issues, and bad marriage, the whole 9 yards, man. I mean, and I don't think there's anything particularly unique about my story. But yeah, man, I had my own shit. But what I did learn is that the situation that I found myself in was all as a result of bad decisions, and it was all self-inflicted. I tried to blame.
Those two words are really bad, called bad decisions.
But thankfully, I learned from them. It's just unfortunate that sometimes in life we need to. It's got to take something really fucking drastic, like severe loss, severe pain, a total bottom. Yeah, and even tried a couple of times to kill myself, Howie. So I think that's about as rock bottom as you can get. I
think that's about it. Yes.
And I've got no. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed to have to admit it, because again, I think now I'm at an age where I give way less fucks about what people think about me, and it's all about helping the kids, man. I mean, I love mastering and I love doing the gig, but my purpose, if you want to call it that, is about helping kids, and that's part of what doing this podcast is about. And as I get older, hopefully I get a bit wiser and I can share more information and more knowledge. And
well, I get it. Giving back is really, when you give back, you get back 10 times as much. That we all know that being of service is really a big deal. And especially somebody who's young and look, I don't sugarcoat anything, and I really give everybody I kind of give them I give it to them straight, right off the bat. And if you want me to help you, you gotta prove to me that you're ready to. I have interns that come every week. I have more interns, and if they can prove to me they can do the shittiest task, then I'll let them sit with me for a minute.
I think people got to earn it. I get no shit, Howie. I reckon I get about 12 to 15 people a week who want to intern, and quite often sometimes you get busy and you can't get back to them, and often they don't respond with a follow up. That they just they give up really, really, really quickly. And again, I'm not trying to put anything tickets on me, but man, I left home with no money, nothing. I came to when I met you, man, the first time I had nothing. I just went on a whim, just in banging on doors and hoping that people would see me and trying to create relationships. And I
like you. I think you like me. You don't take no for an answer, and you kind of you put your money where your mouth is, right?
Well, you have to. I think it's a case of, and I think
I bet you have fun too. I bet you know how to have some fun, right?
Oh yeah, totally, man. The type of fun I have now is very different to the fun I used to have. The fun I used to have used to involve a lot of drugs and a lot of stuff. And you know what? I've got no regrets about that, Howie. That's part of what has made me who I am today, and it's part of my story.
Mhm.
And it's. I think the best way you can help kids is if they're going through shit, you can relate to them because you've actually walked the path and you've come through the other side of it. And, you know, I still like to party like everyone else. I just don't do bad drugs anymore. These days it's about, you know, I'll do some psychedelics, I'll do DMD, something about consciousness expansion and, you know, and I'm serious, man.
Marijuana maintenance or something.
You know, listen, I'll have the odd edible every now and again. That's why I don't pretend to be clean and sober and try and, you know, I think now I think I do things in moderation, and unless there's a purpose behind why I do it, then it's not for the sake of doing it because I'm trying to escape.
Okay.
I'm trying to escape something, or I'm trying to, you know, deal with unresolved pain and trauma and all that kind of bullshit. So,
yeah. So you know, I like your vibe. I like where your head's at, and you know, as long as you can stay in business and you know keep doing what you do. I mean, you know, here's the thing. I don't know the Australian market. Do you find is a lot of your work just basically local, or is it Australian, or is it out of you know, is a lot of it from the Far East, China, Japan, Thailand, stuff like that, or no?
okay, so all right, so for hey Howie, can I just ask you to just put your head up so we can see you? Right now, you look like food. There you go. There you go. Now we can see all of you. Now I can see. There you go. There you go. So for me personally, the majority of work is local. I mean, we got a very healthy music scene here. We got more venues per capita than any other place in the country. Now, obviously, that's all changing with the virus, but most of the work is local. There's some stuff that comes in from interstate, a little bit of stuff from overseas, but I'd say 80% of my work is in my own backyard, and I'm quite happy with that. I guess a guy like you. You know, well, you got a big backyard though. You got a very big backyard.
Yeah, and I get a lot of international stuff, but the bottom line is I know how to wiggle things, and you know, between you and me, if the clients can't really pay what I'm asking, I discount heavily for cash. You know, like the IRS are not listening, but they can't, you know. Anyway, so I try to wiggle, you know, things. I try no matter what. I never let a client leave unless it's insulting. You know what I mean? Yeah. And basically, I don't dick around. I mean, I don't. It's all everything's. I take it personally if somebody doesn't, you know, is not happy with what I do, but that's very rare. And you know, basically, I try to be real. I try to be really fair rates, do the best work anywhere, and have really very fair rates.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a lot of stuff. I can see you're pretty well equipped. You have a lot of. I mean, what percentage of the sessions you do are actually all, you know, like converted analog digital, or is it you know?
I would say 90%, 95% of the work I do is all analog. The only time I'll ever do something all in the box is, and this is very rare, Howie, it's got to be like an absolute fucking perfect mix, or as perfect as it gets. Okay. You know what I mean? So that's a luxury that happens maybe, you know, 5 times a year for me. The rest of the time, you know.
You have all that manly front end stuff, right? Is that what you use?
Yeah, I got some manly. I got some. I got a Millennium Media EQ. I got some Crane Song. I got some API, some Vertigo.
But you know,
Dangerous.
It's great, and all that stuff to me. There are people. What I try to do is, there's no right or wrong. So when I get a project, no matter who it is, almost. I will do it one way and I'll do it another way. I mean, I have a 120 volt SPL console. I have every badass EQ ever made, the best converters. I have 4 sets of converters, digital, the best Antelope clocks, 120 volt analog stuff, you know. And what I've found is this is just me personally. The way I've gotten almost very little recalls ever is I give them one that's pretty much all digital processing, and one that's analog/digital, analog front end, analog conversions, digital processing. Okay, and I never, I very rarely do I get recalls or any kind of retweaks or anything.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't take me that much longer to do. And I found a lot of, I get a lot of stuff that sounds great. And it's about 50-50, I would say, the analog digital stuff. And the good news is the digital stuff is not in real time. So I can do that pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of the and some of the plugins have gotten really good. And it's respecting what you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I work with a lot of big mixer guys that stuff really comes in sounding good. You know what I mean? And, so what's your basic your go-to chain? Is it like an analog front end chain?
Okay. Well, normally what I'll do is I'll use my analog stuff more for broadband coloration. So, I got a Sontec here. I got a 462.
Which version of Sontec you have?
Oh, this is one of the earlier ones. I bought it off my mastering mentor Rick Essig. I bought his. So this is from 1980 something or other. I've also got a 432 that I bought from Joe Gasworth. I bought his 432.
Oh, you bought it from Joe? I know Joe.
Yeah. He's good people. He's I'll have to get him on the podcast one day. He's he's a legend.
Joe is like one of my daddies in the business. He's gotten a bit he's introverted lately. We were nice guy though.
Yeah, no, he's a beautiful man, and he's certainly helped me out a hell of a lot. So what I tend to do these days, Howie, is after I hear the mix, and Vlado Miller told me this. He said the mix will speak to you. The song will tell you what it needs. But I tend to do all the corrective stuff in the digital first. So any bottom end control with one band of a multi or de-essing or anything like that, and then I throw it into the loop, in the analog loop, and I tend to use a lot of gain staging with the boxes. Quite often, I don't use a lot of processing as such. Just it's pretty broad, it's pretty subtle, and then I'll spit it out, and if need a little level at the end, I'll top it up at the digital at the end, and that's it. Robert's your mother's brother.
That's great. I wish I had that kind of. I basically run by the seat of my pants. I've done this so many times. I just, there's that one magic spot, and once I hit that magic, I'm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how sometimes in sessions people say, "Well, how did you do that?" Or what was the attack time on? And it says 3. I said, I don't know what 3 means. I just know that when the dial's there, it sounds good. And I used to have so much issue about being non-technical. And I remember you even told me this as well as Tom Coyne, bless his soul. Music's about emotion. It's about feeling. Don't worry about the technicalities if you don't understand. If you know what makes things sound good and you close your eyes and twiddle the knobs till it gets there, boom, you're in. And that's all that matters, right? If the clients are happy, that's all that matters. No one's going
to... I hate to say it, I'm enamored with digital these days. The response back to me is so clean and so, it's so responsive. When I can go a little tiny bit and it does so much. Okay. And I've learned, this is an old analog crazy guy. I've learned to really respect digital, and know how to use it well. But, it's also you have to respect the combination. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have almost 3 most beautiful EQs on the planet. I won't even use them. I'll convert everything and then use all the digital EQs because, I find when you pile up one analog gear on top of another, you're smearing things a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I like one beautiful analog pass, and then I'm done. And really, what gets me, where I know I've done really well, is when I listen back to the pass I did, through an analog desk and then through digital, and if they sound really close, it's really,
yeah, business. You're on the money. I'm just loving listening to you speak, man. It's at 62 and you still got the enthusiasm for it. I love it, man. That's so good.
But I do a lot, I generally, this year alone, I think I've done almost 150 records,
That's awesome.
I do, I usually do 15 a month, usually 10 to 15 a month, and the full-time assistant was really good. And, he has this. We have kind of duplicate studios next to each other. His is more like an editing station, but he has the same SPL desk. He has the same converters. We share the clocking. Have all the same programs and everything. So anything's easily recallable. And if and a lot of times, to be honest with you, I like working, but I also like doing other things. Like during the day, I'll get him started. I'll go out to do a yoga class. I'll exercise for 2 hours. I'll go out and do this. I'll meet people, have lunch. Come back and do this and that. I mean, if you saw my life, you'd go, "Wow, this is something else."
Yeah, but it's beautiful, man. I think we're getting to the age now where, as much as we love what we do, it's good to balance it out. I mean, like you, I'll go in the gym, do weights.
Kids? How many kids do you have? How many kids?
Yeah, I got 3 kids with one wife, and I got another daughter with my current. I didn't biologically bring in the world, but she's my baby girl nonetheless. Even though she's 30, even though she's 33, and I'm a grandfather to two little boys.
That's okay. You know what? It's really not numbers. Really don't mesh.
Totally, man.
Couldn't agree. And the business in Australia is good. The record business is. Can you get real money for gigs, or is it like? Well, go ahead.
I think, look, I never got into this business to get rich. I got into it to live richly. And but as far as the record companies are concerned, Howie, that's look, like with anything over there, it's all shrunk down. It's all very streamlined now. Look, 99% of my work independent labels. I'm quite happy working with independents. I deal direct with the artist. I get paid straight away. There's no fucking about, yeah. And so it's always nice to say, well, I got to do a job for Sony or for Warner, and there. But if anything comes through like that, Howie, it's usually because they've run out of options, which is fine. Like they've got nowhere else to go. Can you help us out? We need it done now, and if I can help, I help. And that's the only time I'll ever get a call up, and I'm happy with that.
Right, yeah.
Like you said before,
you get paid right away.
Yeah, you get paid right, but like you said before, more importantly, it's we're not in it because we're trying to stroke our ego, or because it's about who you work with and what you've done and what label and what producer. All those things are really lovely embellishments, and oh, look at you, mate.
I got rid of everything. See, I'm like the Rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It suits you, mate.
Right. I know.
Yeah, and so it's not about stroking your ego. It's job satisfaction. It's about we come to work, we get to do what we love to do, we get to hang out with cool people, and we get to make money doing what we love.
Who else have you done on the podcast? Who else you talked to?
Well, okay. I had Bob Katz last week. I spoke to a guy called Pete Kepler. That's coming up before you. He's done a lot of live sound for people like Radiohead and Bowie. He did Katy Perry for the last few years. He's currently doing David Byrne's world tour. He's been with David Byrne doing so.
He's an engineer, right?
Yeah. He's a live sound. He does mixing as well, mainly live sound and mixing. Cool. A year ago to the day that we're recording, I did Mike Fraser, the producer.
Mike from Vancouver, right?
Yeah. He's he was awesome. Yeah, that podcast actually went viral. It was phenomenal. I'm at the moment I'm trying to get Chris Athens on. I've been trying with Chris for a year now. So, but I'll get him.
Yeah, whatever. I remember him when he was a tape op. Whatever it is. I can say. I mean, these guys. He kind of works out of pretty far out of the loop there in Texas. So. I guess you got to work a bit harder if
Well, I can. Let me tell you, Howie. I'll tell you right now that let me tell you that Chris Athens right now is probably one of the hottest guys on the planet. He's absolutely killing it. He's got some Grammys this year. He's got so many number ones at the moment.
Nice guy. I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. And Chris is a guy that actually gave me some good advice back in the day. So that's another reason why I want to get him on, to thank him as well. But Chris is on fire, man. He is absolutely on fire. He's lighting it up, and he's doing amazingly well. So, it's really good.
He's got a studio in his house, which is even better because nobody will go visit him.
Well,
the thing about me is where my studio is, I'm kind of in the center part of LA. So people I probably do more attended sessions than anybody outside of New York, And,
yeah. How do you still enjoy doing attended sessions?
No, not really. I do that so they can come and pay me in cash.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I have a rule, the bottom line is this, it's not really attended. It's, I have to get everything ahead of time. I will do all the work before they show up only because, I know how to work fast. And it's not just because I do it just to save time. That's my nature of working. I'm like, I work fast so I can have more fun, more me time. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
and I've done. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, I think also it's about, look, when you've done a job for as long as you have, and as long as I have, you get a certain rhythm and flow, and you know what to do. There's a certain part that instinct takes over when you, in the beginning, when you're starting out, it's a little bit stopping and thinking and experimenting. But after a while, things just kind of come automatically, and you just kind of know. There's an internal thing that tells you what to do and when to do it. And I think people sometimes feel like, oh shit, you charge X amount of money and it took you so long. But what people don't understand, though, it's 30 years of experience to know what to do and when to do it. And that's what people are paying for. They're paying.
Oh yeah, but exactly. And that's why I don't let. You have to send me everything in advance, and then. If you want to come over here, we just play everything back and I have a pretty badass system in there. I got these gigantic PMCs. I have a world-class sounding room like nobody's business. Okay. And
who designed your room, Howie? Do you know?
What's that?
Who designed your room? Do you know who designed your room? Did Steve?
Bob Hodis and Stephen Slade. Bob Hodis. He's a famous designer. And
yeah. Okay.
Augsburger designed my other room. See, Slade had built the whole compound, and he basically did so well, and I helped him out a lot. He didn't own it, but there's another guy who owns Gobble, that company. It's they do all the plugins as well.
Okay.
Chris. So Stephen really did over the place, built all the rooms, except for mine. He only built it halfway, and they're beautiful, beautiful rooms. And he had to leave because he ran out of space. So Stephen basically bequeathed the whole thing to me. I mean, and I paid him like 10 cents on the dollar, and there was so much done.
Wow.
I mean, 2.5 gorgeous rooms. Okay. And 2 of the rooms I lease out on a full-time level, which almost pays all my expenses. And basically my studio that is now, I redid it. I traded some sessions for some work. If I told you what I did, you would not believe me. I mean, I got this all together for almost nothing. And if you walk in there, you go, holy shit, you fucking kidding me? You have to come see it to really appreciate it.
Well, hopefully I will.
I have now is like nobody's ever heard something like this, And I had all the sound panels done. I traded a bunch of sessions for a guy who did all the treatments. Another sessions for the electrical guy.
There's something beautiful about the Contra. I love Contra as well, man. It's hey, listen. At the end of the day, it's all about value. If someone's got something that's valuable to you.
If you go on my site, you can see what some of the rooms look like. I like the way you're, your design. I like that room you're in. It's very nice and
Thanks, man.
sleek.
I like it. It's comfortable. It works well. I'll never forget I'll never forget your old room at Master Disc, man. How I was. It was like
that was
nothing.
Like a joke. It was kind of. Huh?
But maybe so. But you know what? You created some of the biggest records in history out of that fucking room.
The deal is, it's never about gear. And you know what? After a while,
you made it work.
You can make great sounding records anywhere.
I was just one of the things that blew me away particularly was, I remember you had those 2 W bins. And you had these, I think, Altec Lansings, if I remember, and this row of bullet tweeters, this big PA stack, and you had something like 6 or 7 different monitors. I never could understand how you could work. Do you still have a lot of?
Well, look on my site. I have 5 sets of mains in the studio. I have NS10s, KRKs, Genelecs, my main PMCs, and I have little Advent computer monitors, And
that way you cover all the bases.
What's that?
And that way you cover all the bases in terms of different monitoring situations.
Some people think, oh, you just keep one system and that's good. Not really. I mean, I turned Lotto onto these. Him and I do a lot of, we have a master class together. We've done, but I turned him onto these KRKs. I have them set right here. You should see them. They're incredible. The new V8s with the Kevlar woofers and tweeters in them. They sound incredible, And those are my second set of mains. I have the classic General X, the 1035s, the 1031s. I have the NS10s in like almost mint condition. I have, to me, you can't. You have to hear everything. It works for me. Not one speaker. Okay, and I go in the car. I got headphones. I got whatever. But my mains are really what I listen on, these big PMCs, which I can't make ones. And go on my site and you can see the picture.
Yeah. No, I've seen those. They're big. They're big mothers. And they push a lot of air. Those things too. They're
great, and the room was built around them. And it's an incredibly dead room. And the best part about that room is I live. Where my bedroom is right underneath the studio.
Yeah, cool. nothing like being
one of the bedrooms, and
nothing like being able to do a session in your underwear, huh?
Well, yeah, exactly. But and I gotta say, especially in this like now, I mean, everybody's scrambling to work out of the house. This is the way I do everything. I kind of LA right now is so fucking weird. I don't know how it is in Australia right now. But you get on the main freeways that are always packed all the time. They're empty. They in Santa Monica now they have a law now. You can't really leave the house except for you go to the store and nobody's listening to them. I just went out. I did a bike ride before. I meditate on the beach. I live on the most. The Santa Monica Pier, that famous pier. It's like right down the block from my house.
Cool.
And, there's no tourists here. It's a little strange right now, to be honest with you. And I have a lot of friends that are really hurting because they're in a lot of them are in the restaurant business that are really hurting. And my girlfriend, who we're somewhat engaged. She's a massage therapist. Her whole spa closed down.
Yeah, it's happening here too, man. It's happening here too. I drove in today. The drive into the studio for me is on an average 40 minutes. I'm about 40 minutes away on average. Okay. And today I got here at no time. I mean, you could fire the streets that are normally just rammed with traffic for me, you could fire a cannon down there, man. Still a few people.
Yeah, Melbourne, I don't know anything about but LA is, like I said, world-class traffic here.
World-class, yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, I get here in no time. But I get in no time anyway. I know where the tricks are. The good thing about me is I don't take anything on face value. I know, I will, if you, I will try to wiggle something out of something. Okay.
Yeah.
Out of nothing. But so business is good for you, right? There's no complaints.
Yeah, no. Listen, I came in this morning. There was no sign on the door with an eviction notice, and the lights are on, and the toilet flushes, man. So hey, I'm successful, buddy. I've made it.
It's okay. You know what? And how far away do you live? 40 minutes from the studio?
Yeah. 40 minutes. But look, I get here 2-3 times a week. I've got other guys in here, and I tend to oversee it. I'm in a transitional phase now.
So in other words, you're delegating a lot of work, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I delegate. I get to pick and choose what I really want to do. I'm also
that's great.
I'm also happy to do a bit of voluntary work to help, especially kids, man, because there's a lot of kids who are really talented. And look, everyone's got no money. But there's no money, and then there's no fucking money. And,
well, I mean, there's a homeless problem in this LA like nobody's business, you know.
Right. And so I've learned how to differentiate between the genuine no money and so I'll just try and help the kids out where I can. Those right. Kids are really fucking talented because, man, look, I'm just so blessed, Howie. You know, when I was a kid and I started to go out there in the world, I had, again, people like you and people like Ludwig and George Marino and, all these guys, man, who opened their doors to me, didn't know me from a bar of soap, and yet opened the door, gave me advice, helped me out, supported me, always made themselves available, and that was never forgotten. And there's nothing I can do to pay you guys back, but I can pay it forward to the kids. And that's
really good. And And you know what? That's the best thing I could ever hear, because that's really what it's all about. You know what I mean? And being of service. Because when you're of service to somebody, you're helping yourself.
Absolutely, and
look, I get it, and another thing, if you want my help, you got to show me you have to prove me something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can only help the ones that want to help themselves. So the ones that show initiative, they show drive, they show effort, they're respectful, and they put in. I mean, I don't expect them to have to jump through a million hoops and beg, but at least show me something. At least, for example, if I don't get back to an email, don't take it personally. Get back to me. Try again. Don't be afraid. Don't just keep at it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the thing. People don't understand that. People like you and of your reputation, you're still human and you still get it. And I
don't take anything personal and have no ego. It's really important never to have an ego. We really, be grounded and have have no ego and really,
and compassion for them too, man. Because there was a time when you were a young Howie. Once upon a time, he was looking for work and he wanted to get his leg up, and you remember what that was like, even though it was a long time ago. But we do remember there was a time when we just dreamed.
It's actually not that long ago, and to be honest with you,
how old were we? How old were we?
I started. I was like early 20s.
It's 40. It's fucking 40 years, dude. That's a long time ago.
Almost, yeah.
It may not seem like it because
what's that?
40 years may not seem like a long time because time flies like that. But still, 40 years is 40 years, brother.
Yeah, that's why I can do is there's nothing I haven't heard. Yeah. Nothing I can't work. No session. No problem I can't get in or can't get out of. Okay,
are there any Howie? If you can remember, are there any particular sessions that stand out for you or that are very special for you, or really? Because I remember you telling me a story about one session that I thought was quite amazing. Which I'll just share with you first, and then and that is I'll never forget the time you told me about the time when you were working with U2. You were doing their pop album, and you told me at that time that was, I think it was the record for the biggest bill ever in the history of the company. Yeah. It was like 60. And I said, how much, Harry? He said, it's about 60,000 US. That was in 1990 something. And I said, how the fuck did that happen? And he just said, because there's all these different versions for different territories, 100 DAT tapes and all these cassette references and CD references. And I mean, so much parts, but also different versions for the different territories. And collectively it adds up. And if I remember back then, I think a lot of studios then, apart from your rate, used to get percentage on the parts. So it's a different time now, different era. But
I got paid nothing on it. Okay. I have a few hundred gold records. There's not one record on there that I've done that I've actually gotten a dime on. Okay. And it's okay. It is what it is. Okay. I'm doing okay now. And I'll always do okay. And the same as you, we're hustlers. We don't hustle work.
Yeah. You got
I got that gig. No matter what they say, I'm thinking about, I got that gig,
Yeah.
I mean, I got it. Okay.
New York definitely taught me how to hustle. And the other thing I learned in New York, and I thank Rick for this, is that he taught me the importance of one great bit of advice he said to me, years ago. He said, 80% of this job is bullshit. And I looked at him really strange. And he said, it's all about the hang time. It's all about getting along with clients and people getting to like you and relationships and trust and all that kind of stuff. And he said,
and your money is good. Yes, exactly.
And you still got to be good. You still need chops. But I think people will forgive you for being, a 99 out of 10 engineer, but you're a super sweet guy and understanding. Then if you're a 10 out of 10, but you're a complete prick. So and I know
a lot of them too. I'm not going to mention names, but some of the best records I ever did. You know what my secret is?
What?
I'll tell you right now, the play button. Push play.
Yeah.
I learned how to push play. Wow. Yeah.
Who did you, when you were, as a younger engineer, Howie, who did you have mentoring you as a
Bob.
Bob,
He basically, I can tell you the whole thing is he just handed me the keys to the candy store. Basically, when I first started, we had, there was one older room there with a Scully lathe and a really old Neumann equipment, and Bob had the new Neumann console and the double lathes and everything. And I was starting to have a lot of clients. I did all the original hip hop records. I did every one.
Yeah.
And before they had built my other studio, and my studio that I wanted, we made a deal, and I needed to have who had the best. Bob had the best studio, so I did this for about a year. I decided, okay, I'm going to come in and Bob will do the session during the day. I'm going to come in about the tail end of his session. He's going to hand me a card, a cutting card with all his notes on it from the whole day's session, from every record, okay? Mm-hmm. And I have to recreate each one. Sometimes with the client there, sometimes with the client out doing lacquers, tape copies, everything, okay? Mm-hmm. So basically, this went on for about 8 months, 10 months, and maybe longer. So every session, he kind of handed me today, the day and age, you don't write down every little thing you've ever done. I don't. I can't work that way. So every little EQ note, every fade, every this, every point, okay, and here it is, and so hand somebody the keys to the candy store because here's all my notes for one of these big hit records, okay? Mm-hmm. This is what I did, and then after a while, the biggest compliment I ever got from him was when he had to go on vacation and a very big record. I don't remember what it was, but they asked me if I would do it, and then when Bob had come back, he looked it over and said, "Wow, this is one record you turned every knob that I would have turned."
How good's that?
Huh?
How good is that to get that kind of endorsement from someone like him? That's amazing, isn't it?
So anyway, after a while, I had more clients than he did. So because this is when he all the hip hop, rap music, all that pop, punk rock. I did all those records, Yeah. But the thing is about, and I'm not touting my own horn, but I've earned the genre of the heaviest hip hop, the heaviest pop music, electronic, punk, rock music, heavy rock, light rock, punk, electronic, there's not one record in that genre. I can't tell you that's one classic record.
Oh, no, for sure. You've had a charmed life in that respect. I'd be happy if I had.
What? I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing, really. I do, actually. I've just been telling people that.
I'd be happy. You know what, man? I'd be happy if I had 2% of your credit list. I was last time I read something about it, was like you've had over 19,000 credits. That's a lot of fucking
19,000 credits and 25 billion streams.
That's just insane.
And this is verified too, so it's not even.
Yeah. No. I get it, man. Listen, I think you can afford to strut a little and have a little swagger. At the end of the day, you can back your shit. So
that's good. I appreciate it, and guys like you. I appreciate you noticing stuff like that, And what other engineers are there? So basically, there's the guys in Sydney where Leon works. He still works at that big 301 studio. Is that him?
Yeah. No, he's still there, and he's doing very well for himself. And he's I've
always liked Leon. I knew his wife. I didn't realize he split up with his wife until she calls me and goes, we're not. I had a conversation with him. He's acting kind of strange.
Yeah.
Between and then I didn't realize that, and then he split up with his wife.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, look, man, I think I don't think I know anyone in my industry. Very few people I know that haven't gone through some kind of marital breakup or some kind of shit in life, and and everyone responds to it differently. And look, Leon's doing really well for himself, man. Look, I think there are some people that
I love the guy. We used to hang out a lot together in New York. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Look, there are guys like you and I and others who are more entrepreneurial who want to go out and do their own thing, and there are some guys who just like to turn up, work. Get their check and off they go. And each to their own as to how they want to do it.
I got another question. So Who in town there does vinyl cutting in your I mean, who do you where?
Yep. Yeah.
How many different layers are there, and how many what's the
Okay, let me tell you the lay of the land. Okay, so there's a place in Melbourne just literally down the road from me. It's called Zenith, and they got a Neumann, they got a 70 down there,
70?
with the SM74 racks and all that kind of stuff, and the transfer console and whatnot. And there's a guy called Nick Pappas in Sydney, who's in the midst of setting up a couple of lathes up there, and he's it's all starting to happen up there. So
well, I'll be honest with you, no offense, I've had so many chances to buy really nice disc cutting equipment. I always turned it down because let me tell you something: the shit that could go wrong so easily, and it's just not worth it for me. It's basically to handle also the physical cutting. It's the amount of work you have to put into it and get the lathes, and then nobody knows how to change a stylus, and nobody knows how to do a record correctly. That's one training I've had. I've probably cut more vinyl records than anybody on the planet. I mean, for 20 years, I was doing Bob's sides, my sides, this guy's side, everything, and I find it's just time consuming, and it's.
Oh, look, it's definitely hard. Look, I remember when Zenith set up, I was approached to cut for them, and it was going to be a day out of my week. And I said, look, unless you can compensate me for a full day in the studio, not to be here, because it's like you said. It's like you said. You've got to be someone that really knows about electronics and pneumatics and
all right now.
Sorry?
All the cutting equipment right now is whatever it is. It's really old, worn out, and unless you have a maintenance guy, there's only a handful of guys out there who can actually fix this stuff. And more than anything else, right now, all these guys that spend all this money on cutting lathes can't even get a fucking blank disc because the company burned down.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. That's right. It's tough. It's tough.
Like having a Tesla, having a Maserati or a famous Ferrari and no gas.
Yeah. Or it constantly breaks down. It's in the garage. Yeah, unless you're someone like Chris Muth that knows how to fix just about anything on the planet, then I wouldn't invest. Personally, I wouldn't invest in it for the same reasons you mentioned, man. I'm not a technical person. I wouldn't know what to do if it broke down. I'd be fucked. And to try and find someone to come and fix. And too much downtime. It's I applaud those who make the decision and bite the bullet. Good luck to them. And I'm sure it can be done and done well if you know what you're doing. You got the right people behind you.
Listen, I'm gonna hit the road. Is there anything else you need from me or what?
No, man. You've given me more than I could ask for. And
I don't have any good stories. I can, but I didn't really think about it. But
no, that's all right. Listen, we'll have another chat another time.
Why don't you just one day? I mean, actually, from Australia to LA is not that hard for longer. I mean, it's a long. It's not like going to New York, but you should come out here. You'd be surprised. When was the last time you were actually out here in Los Angeles? What year?
I haven't actually set foot in Los Angeles since 1993 or 4. And the last time I was in the States was the last time I saw you, which is 2000. It was the Olympics were on here in Australia, and that was 2000 was the last time I was in North America, man. So 20 years. So like I said, hopefully later in the year I'll be able to get myself over there and
because whatever it is.
I'll look you up, man. Don't worry. I'll look you up. We'll go out. We'll get some sushi. We'll go meditate on the beach.
You got a lot. Yeah.
You'll do some yoga, man. Fuck it. We'll do some yoga.
I'll get a tattoo by the time we get there. No.
Yeah. Really. Maybe so. All right. Howie, I love you, man. Right, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Continued success to you, brother.
Just hit me up, okay, Tony?
Yeah, I will do, man. You got it. It's really nice to reconnect. All right. Take care of yourself, brother. All right. Be well. And there you go. Howie Weinberg from Howie Weinberg Mastering in the US of A. He's a character. I absolutely love the shit out of him. So, with thanks to my sponsors, Omega Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, Jiu-Jitsu and MMA in 6 Down Street, Collingwood. So that's where I train. It's a great club. George Soteropoulos, former UFC fighter, takes all the classes, and he teaches every single class there. So whether you want to do MMA, jiu-jitsu, grappling, kickboxing, any of the martial arts, George is your man. It's a great club. We're family friendly. We're female friendly. It's a wonderful place to go. And if you want to just get fit, or if you want to, ramp up your game, and you do want to go in the, into the cage and fight, George is your man. Anyway, I'm out of here. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. And as I always say, please be nice to each other. But more importantly, be nice to yourselves. I love you fuckers. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. See ya.